right, here we go. Interface presents how to automate e-sign requests with web forms, streamline data collection, and simplify follow boss for your agents for max productivity. Thank you from Interface. We really appreciate you being here. On the call also is Jennifer Staats from Staats Solutions, the leading virtual operations management company for real estate agents, brokerages, and investors. So if you need help dialing in any of this stuff, Jennifer is the way to go. All right, so what you'll learn on this call, so how to systemize your e-sign process into a fine-tuned machine, how to efficiently collect data from agents with web forms, populate that data into a PDF and send the document out for e-signature automatically, and how to simplify follow boss for your agents so they spend less time updating FUB and more time providing value to their clients. So before we start, I'm going to teach you everything I know about systematizing, automating, and optimizing your e-signature process. So this info will help you regardless of whether you become an Interface customer or not. At the end, I'll let you know how Interface can help take your e-signature process to the next level. And if you decide to become an Interface customer, or if you're an existing customer, I'll have some exciting bonuses for you when you sign up. This will run 45, 60 minutes, depending on how many questions you have. I'll stick around after the presentation for as long as necessary to answer those questions. So go ahead and type the questions in as you think of them. If it's relevant in the moment, we'll answer it in real time. Otherwise, we'll get to it at the end. And then go ahead and get out your notepad and start writing things down, action items. And this is being recorded, and I'll let you know how to access the recording at the end. All right, so who am I? Why am I here? Why should anyone listen to what I have to say? So I started my career as a real estate agent in 2007. So best time ever to get into real estate for those of you who weren't there at the time. So crash happened in 2008, which led me to playing online poker professionally. So I used to play 24 tables at a time, about 600 to 800 hands an hour. And this was my office on the beach in Mexico. So after that, I transitioned to a career in data science and analytics because online poker is actually a very similar skill set. Got hired in 2017 as the database manager and quickly promoted to chief data officer at Reef Point Realty, which is the top selling real estate team in San Diego at the time. And then after that, I started Interface as an automation and integration solution for Follow Boss. So what does Interface do? We're an automation as a service platform, so similar to Zapier, that enhances the capabilities of the best web apps in real estate, such as Follow Boss and Open to Close. Our focus is keeping agents in Follow Boss and building customizations that force them to do what they're supposed to do and prevents them from messing everything up, because that's what agents are good at in these tech systems. I recently partnered with Kyle Whistle of the Whistle Realty Group, the current top-selling team in San Diego, and the team with the most volume sold at EXPN in 2024 to add analytics to our platform. We're going to do a quick overview of what we have coming up. So our analytics platform, we're going to be launching in Q4. We already have some of this rolled out, but the rest is going to be rolled out through Q4. We have the customizable exportable report engine up and running. We're also going to be doing goals, challenges, leaderboards, lead source ROI. So here's the report engine. So this is like a spreadsheet for analyzing your deals, your deal pipeline. And this is our conversion ratio report that we're going to be rolling out soon. Now, our product recap. So our automation platform we launched back in April. We can automate stuff that isn't available really anywhere else. So you can trigger automation from text messages, calls, updates, or new leads in the database, updates to deals, emails, notes, appointments. Most of these aren't available anywhere else. So we really can automate stuff that no one else can. One of the things that people are using it for is user type smart lists. So we can, a lot of people don't know this, but if you have multiple users on the same smart list in Follow Boss and one of them calls that person, it'll drop that lead off the other user's smart list, which leads stuff to slip through the cracks. And then the follow-up is also uniform in Follow Boss. So whether it's call, text, or email, or regardless of how long the call lasts, it's going to set the next follow-up for a week or a month. And we can make it dynamic and outbound 2-minute or longer call will set the next follow-up for 7 days, but a less than 2-minute call could set the next follow-up for 3 days. So dynamic smart lists and user type smart lists are one of the things people are using our automation platform for. But now getting into what we all came here for. So if you're ready to learn how to automate your e-signature process, go ahead and type yes into the chat. What happened to my chat? There it is. All right. Awesome. Okay. So e-signature automation designer. So the NAR settlement is a once in a lifetime opportunity, according to Tom Ferry. And so here's one of the things we can capitalize on. So the first step of setting up your e-signature automation designer is you need a web form. Follow Boss isn't great for doing this stuff because there are no controls in Follow Boss. You can't require certain fields be entered. And so you really need a web form to make this happen. So a few different options: Google Forms, Jot Forms, Cognito Forms, and then we'll get into how we could use our interface web forms a little later. So the next step is setting up the e-signature process. For setting up the forms action steps, first you need to prepare a list of data points you want to collect. So in your document, you're going to need to populate certain data to it. So list out the data that you need, and then create those fields such as address or client info, and then create the form with those data points. If you really want to take it to the next level, you can use Zapier to populate those custom form links into Follow Boss, but our form system will make this much easier than doing it via Zapier. So next we need an e-sign platform. So you got to set up your e-sign template. So most e-sign platforms go to this. The ones that we found that work well are BoldSign and DocuSign. But what you need is something that integrates with Zapier, and something that allows triggering those e-signatures from Zapier or Make or one of those platforms. And so what you're going to want to do is once you've decided on an e-signature platform, you go in, you choose who needs to receive it. So you're going to map the data from the form to who's going to receive the e-sign request. You're going to select the mode of delivery, email, text, or both. You're going to map your placeholders from the form into the document, and then update each field to be required on the form to make sure the data is actually collected. And so you can use this little field mapping template to map everything out. And then the last step is connecting to Zapier. So Zapier, Make, any of these platforms will work. And so the trigger is going to be your form. Then you're going to filter. If you're using the form for a buyer broker agreement and a listing agreement, you're going to want to put a filter on there to go down the right path. If you want to extract data out of Follow Boss, you're going to want to use a step to get data from there. If you have client name and phone number and email already in Follow Boss, you don't need to have your agents enter that data onto the form. You just use a get step in Zapier to get that data. Then you format the data, and then the action step is to send out the document for e-signature. Now, there's some challenges with this process. So one of them is form accessibility. As I mentioned previously, if you can get that form link into a custom field, it definitely makes things easier on the agents, but that can be challenging. Also, getting the data into Follow Boss can be a challenge. If there's a mismatch on the email, that could prevent it from getting into Follow Boss. And that's some of the issues with using Zapier or Make. Getting all the data where you want in Follow Boss is super challenging. So this is kind of the old way of integrating forms into Follow Boss, but we built a new way of doing it with interface. So who's excited to see a demo of sending out an e-sign template from Follow Boss? Go ahead and type yes into the chat. Awesome. All right. So now we're going to go into Follow Boss. All right. So we have this embedded app over here, and you can build out forms to embed within this embedded app. I'm not going to go through the form building process on this webinar, but we have a full drag and drop interface for building out forms, and then they get associated with a pipeline and a stage. So when the form is filled out, it either creates a deal in that pipeline and stage or updates the existing deal to the pipeline and stage. So we're going to do a form for buyer broker agreement. So we need our buyer pipeline. And now we're going to select the form. Right. So now I'm going to go ahead and fill this out. Here we go. All right. So we're just going to fill this out. Main Street. Oops. Date is 25th, and agreement expiration date is March 25th. All right, and then we're going to submit. All right, so then we get a note with everything that was entered, and we get a deal created, and then we get an e-signature request from Bold Sign. And now it's populated with the client's name. So client's name was pulled from here. Dates were added. The address is added down here. And then it's ready for signature. Now we get a tile here, and we can update the deal through the pipeline by coming here and selecting the next form in the process. So this looks a little crazy because this is our dev account, but typically you would have a form for each one of your pipeline stages, and it'll move the deal through the process with each form, because forms, if we go into the deal, it's just a big list of fields. There's no way of your agents knowing which of these fields need to be filled out. So we could populate these fields from the forms, and in the form on each stage, it'll have just the fields that the agents need to fill out. So they don't have to worry about knowing what data to enter or required and what's not. And then we could trigger automation, so we can update the stage, reassign the agent, trigger action plans, pause action plans. Virtually anything that needs to happen in Follow Boss can be triggered from the forms. So now the agents only have to remember to do one thing, which is fill out a form, rather than do 5 or 6 different things in Follow Boss. So any questions on how that works? All right, so we'll get into next steps. I guess first, thanks for being here. Really appreciate everyone's time. I know you guys are super busy. A lot of you are probably packing for unlock. So really appreciate you being here. Now, if there are any questions, now's the time. I guess it was pretty straightforward, so may not have any questions. Jennifer, what are your thoughts?
I think this is so robust. You can really do a lot with it. I'm excited to dig in with some of our clients. Obviously, like buyer broker agreements are something that's been painful for everyone, but I think there's so many things you can layer on here.
Yeah, exactly. Just making like forms make it so easy to systematize everything. And it makes it so easy for agents to know exactly what data they need to enter and not have to figure everything out. And then what you can leverage from that is you can start having your admin team refuse to do any work until the forms are submitted. A lot of times agents will provide incomplete data to the listing coordinator or the transaction coordinator, and it makes their job very challenging. So if you set up a form that has all the data the transaction coordinator or listing coordinator needs, then when the form is submitted, we can send that data directly to them, and that is the trigger for them to get started on their work. They like it because they get all the data they need. The agents, they would much prefer providing the data incrementally, but that just slows everyone down. It actually saves their time and is better for them to force them to do it all at once. You do have to get them to do it.
Yeah, and this is so much more than forms, right? The teams that we've used before, when you really show your agents what you can build for them to do all of these things that they would have had to remember how to do,
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's what's super important. Once you tell the agent, if you fill all this out correctly the first time, you're not going to have to do these 5 or 6 other things. Then they're like,
Yeah,
oh, that makes,
exactly.
okay, I get it now.
Yeah, and then if you what our teams that do the best with this is they keep the lines of communication open, because the best people to let you know what needs to be automated are the agents, because they have to deal with doing the work. So they'll have a lot of good suggestions on automate this, and our system allows most of it to be automated. A good example is when a new lead comes in, you typically want that lead up the stage updated to attempted contact if they reach out and call them and don't reach the person. That's the exact type of update that agents don't remember to do. But now our automation platform, when that call happens, we can check to see, is this lead in the new lead stage? Was the call less than 2 minutes? If it's yes to both, now we update the stage to attempted contact. And that's one less follow boss update that they have to remember how to do. And the more you can automate, the easier you can make the lives of your agents.
Yep, 100%.
Awesome. So we're going to go ahead and we recorded this. We'll probably have the recording ready by midweek next week. And so we'll send it out to everyone. So yeah, really appreciate everyone hopping on the webinar. And we're excited about these forms and the automation capabilities they allow. Thanks for joining us, and we'll be doing more of these in the future as we have more use cases to highlight.
Bye, everybody.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.